Hello and welcome to Hot Springs Village Venues. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you'll enjoy our mix of fun and information about beautiful Hot Springs Village. Hot Springs Village is the world's largest gated community with 9 golf courses, 11 lakes, and over 29 miles of hiking trails, and thousands of super nice people who make it a great place to live and retire. If you have any questions or comments, please go to village-venues.com or visit us on Facebook at HSV Venues, and of course, anywhere your favorite podcasts are seen or heard. Dennis Simpson, Hot Springs Village Venues. It's good to be back. 2019, yeah, well, we did some stuff in 2019, 2020, and we're back. It's great to be back with you. Have some great news for you today, and a lot more to come. As you can tell, things have changed dramatically. It's still the same lake. It's still the same wonderful area that we love, but different names, different people, that kind of thing. It changes. That said, today, how to get ahead like a dog. You see, in our world, many times we're led to believe that getting ahead means that you're going to race ahead like the biggest, baddest pack leader. You're going to do all that, right? Today we're going to learn lessons, I think, from an animal we call, or the professionals call, canine familiaris. That's right, just a regular house dog. They're in our homes right now, probably mooching our food or getting away with things we probably didn't mean for them to get away with, but that is their magic. Today, in the simplest possible words, we're not going to talk about survival of the fittest. We're going to talk about survival of the friendliest. Let that sink in. Survival of the fittest implies that you push down everyone else and possibly your gain is at their loss, right? Dogs don't know anything about that. They don't care. They're friendly. Dogs got to where they are today by being friendly. They didn't get it by being the biggest, baddest dog or the fittest. Let me give you an example. About 30,000 to 130,000 years ago, how about that for a range of events, dogs started hanging around the campground or the campsites of humans. We would go off on a march and a hunt as the dominant predator. We would, because of our brains, and then we would go and have scraps left over. We would throw those scraps out, like the puppy you're seeing on the image right now. But we would throw those scraps out, and when you put the scraps out, we didn't care what came to eat it, a vulture, a raccoon, it didn't matter, except there were wolves. Now, today you have to understand 99.4% of all dogs have the same DNA as a wolf. Now, those of you that have either raised wolves or had wolf dogs, which I do not advise, it's a bad idea. Dogs, for the most part, are so domesticated, in particular labs, are so loving and kind to their own detriment maybe, right? Wolves, not the way, no. You see, a wolf will let you pet it, it'll let you stay with it, it'll be fine, and then it will literally turn and rip your neck out. They are wildly unpredictable animals, wildly dangerous and highly volatile. The classic example of how survival of the fittest doesn't do as well as survival of the friendliest. What dog do you have in your home right now that if I said you brought that dog in and you had a newborn baby, you laid down beside it, and I said, oh, it would be a bad idea for you to leave that newborn with that dog? Well, no, it's not. That's our pet. That pet has been with us for 8 years, 9 years, 6 years, whatever. Yeah, a wolf doesn't care how long it's been with you. It will eat your baby. And I'm not trying to be vulgar or gross, but the fact of the matter is that's the examples that you can't get more clear than that. The very simple solution is that you can have survival of the fittest or you can have survival of the friendliest. This came to mind the other day. As you know, I'm on a different podcast format than we have been. And it's always tempting, for men in particular. Well, we're going to be the biggest, baddest, we're going to whatever. No, it's not my style. Maybe, just maybe, I need to be friendly. You see, because with friendly can take you other places with people. I was literally thinking about this for some friends of mine. I have friends in real estate. Everybody does. If you're in the village, you know somebody who's a realtor. Do you think it would do them better to be a pound the table and we're going to crush the competition people? Or do you think it would be better if they were just the friendliest people you know? And frankly, my realtor friends are that way. They're super friendly. Clara, Ike, all these people that are service providers. Oh my God. They're genuinely friendly people. You say, well, Dennis, that's just their persona. That's what they get paid to do. That's how. No. I've been to lunch with them. I've had private conversations with them. I've repeatedly talked about very private information with them. And they're just nice people. Let's go into this. Oh, by the way, this came up because my lovely wife the other day, we had our granddaughter over and she's 10. And it was like, well, what are we going to watch for the evening movie? And Diane suggested Benji. Now, little did we know, even though it has a good outcome, that we were going to need Kleenex. But oh my Lord, what a friendly, loving, wonderful movie that we all enjoyed. Yes, there's sad parts. There's always sad parts. That's how they make movies. But the moral of the story is that if I wanted to demand that I be the biggest dog on top, nobody loses a tear over that. Nobody, really. How do we differ from a dog? How does that differ for us? Dogs have successfully woven themselves into our lives unlike any other animal ever. Ever. Talk about a successful breed. For what it's worth, by the way, what we know of as animal breeds or dog breeds are less than 125 years old. Did you know that? The poodle and all these others, they have been bred. We had 150 years ago, we just had dog, okay? Anyway, step one to being a great dog or being successful through friendliness. Be friendly. Be easy to talk with. Be approachable. Don't snarl. Smile. Crack a joke now and then. Maybe to my fault. Number two, be cute. You say, Dennis, too late. No. Comb your hair. Wear a nice shirt. Be presentable. I didn't say be Brad Pitt. Just be cute. Be the best you can be. Brush your teeth. Show up. Be good. Dogs. Oh my God. This one, I can't press this point long enough. Resilient. If you've ever seen persistence, a 5-year-old and a dog, yeah, they know persistence. They know how to keep at you. Come on, let me, I need you. Yeah, dogs are resilient. You scream, you holler, you get on a dog, you get mad at them, you tell them not to do that again. You want to pet me now? Is that okay? They're resilient. It probably would do some of us good. Diane and I were talking about this the other day. Of the traits that we have, and nobody's perfect, of course. And I've said this on shows before. Diane has the most forgiving heart I've ever seen. I asked somebody the other day, I said, do you hold a grudge? They said, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, wow. Number one, either it's my memory or I don't know, attention span or just I can't stand the stomach acid. I really don't hold a grudge. I don't want to hold a grudge. It's not, how about, let's put it this way, it's counterproductive. How about that? But the resilience of a dog is just beyond description. It really is. So this goes hand in hand, and I meant to mention this with Diane. She has the most just, okay, let it go. And she really can. And I admire that. I want to be that way. You and I, we should aspire to such. And it's not like, oh, I'm just going to bury it and I'll forget it and I'll bring it back up sometime later. No. No, she just really lets it go, which we all need. We all need. Which ties right into forgiving, which is my point there. Dogs are forgiving, right? Dogs, resilient, friendly, forgiving, diligent. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You're in a bad mood. You don't feel good. You really want to be left alone. Dogs won't do that. They'll be diligent. Come on, pet me. It's okay, it's okay. I think another point that I don't have it down here, but I need to reiterate this. Dogs can read moods. Actually, I've got it under another item I'll skip ahead to called the sniff test. Dogs know how to sniff things. And that's not just for food. Dogs have this uncanny ability, in my opinion, dogs have this uncanny ability to know when we're upset, we're mad, we're whatever. Oh, let me tell you a little story that will reiterate my point here. So dogs have is it a scabula? I think there's a little muscle in the back of their eye that, like a human, that they can go, or they can roll their eyes, or they can whatever. Some dogs do. Some have these steel cold eyes like wolves. But most dogs have a little, where you can see just the white of their eye, and that's where we get our emotion. By the way, dogs that are raised without human interaction do not have those expressions. They learn those expressions from us. I'm mad at you, or oh boy, or whatever. Every dog learns that expression. They don't learn it from their mother dog, or from their dad dog. They don't know. They learn it from us, This may be the best one of all. If you're a dog and you want to win through friendliness, be polite. Diane and I had a dog named Cisco, and Cisco was just infinitely polite. You'd bump into him, you'd push him back, he was like, oh, okay. And he was a little collie mix, a little black and tan collie mix with a big flag tail and big brown eyes. One of the greatest dogs we ever had. We could tell toward the end when he was passing away, he was in great pain. Never knew it. The day we had to put him away, the day we had to take him to Dr. Bob's, I had to literally pick him up, carry him outside. He had had a stroke. Carry him outside. He peed, and then he wanted to come back in. Could not even walk back in, but literally the last thing he would do, his last bodily function on earth, wasn't indoors. He didn't make a mess inside. I had the dog 16 years. He never made a mess. Exceptional dog. Polite. You know, and when we come down to it, the big ones are faithful. We all have friends. I had someone tell me this last week. I was probably too trusting. Yep, probably so. And I intend to remain to be too trusting. In the words of my dear mother, you are to me what you are to me. You know, well, don't you worry about Joe, because Joe was a felon. Joe has treated me perfectly wonderful ever since I've ever met him. I've never had a foul word from Joe. Joe is a wonderful person. Joe is to me who he is to me. Those of you that are just visiting the village or coming to the village, you need to know this. You really do. I've seen so many people come to the village and make themselves over, just completely. Not the person you thought they were. And for example, and this is a generational thing, but you'll know exactly where I'm going. Generations ago, we were Baptist or Methodist or Church of Christ or Presbyterian or Pentecostal or Catholic or whatever, and that was in concrete. Your parents were Baptist, so you were Baptist, and you were Catholic, so they were Catholic, so you're going to be Catholic. In the village, man, my good friend Ken Gazelle, I know he was another denomination before he came to the village and became Lutheran. Well, after he went with working with the Lutheran church a while, he decided that they wanted to move over to the Methodist church over at Mountainside. By the way, we have some great churches here in the village, and we're going to show more and more of those very soon here on HS Village Venues. We're going to be going indoors and outdoors a lot more, showing you a lot more video about what's going on. It's a blazing high of 22 degrees today, or else I would have been outside shooting more video and drone shots, but not today, not so much. But remember, being a faithful friend, like a dog, works really, really well. You say, well, Dennis, sometimes they're not very nice. You got to be polite. You got to be friendly. You say, well, how does this apply to my business? I guarantee you, if you are, well, even if you're not public facing, if you're public facing, you probably should know all these if you don't know all these already. Be polite, be nice when the weather isn't. Be friendly, be resilient, be forgiving, be diligent, be faithful. And most of all, give her the old sniff test. Yeah. How does that sniff out? Does it smell good or does it not? Diane and I had a few months where we had Scraps, our new dog, which is, we celebrated 6 years with him last week. But we had a period where we had Cisco, our older black and tan Sheltie, and then we had Scraps at the same time. And Scraps had been in an injury, and he had a place under his arm, under his paw, or his shoulder cut, and we didn't know how he was doing. He was in a sling, and he'd kind of hop around. This dog was 14 at the time, okay? And we remember that Scraps would go over and sniff of Cisco's leg. I thought, well, that's odd. That's unusual. And then he would do it again, and then he would kind of lick at that spot and check on it. I'm like, that's odd. I thought, well, I probably need to take that down to Dr. Bob and let's see what's going on. Come to find out, the cast that Cisco had on his shoulder had cut him underneath, and it was becoming abscess, and it was infected. And Scraps gave it the sniff test. Seldom does something that doesn't pass the sniff test, seldom does it get any better. I love it when I see people open a gallon of milk and they sniff the gallon of milk and then they put the lid back on and put it back in. I've never seen it go good after you do that. Now, that's just me. Maybe that's happened to you. Your results may vary. Not. But the point is that you need to give it the sniff test. For posterity, I want to tell you this last story. And I want to encourage you to be dog-like. I think you'll get further in business being friendly than you will be trying to be the dog at the top of the pack or the wolf at the top of the pack. But I want to share this little story. Diane and I had Cisco, and Cisco was about 37, 38 pounds. He was rather lean. He was kind of wolf-like or fox-like. He looked very fox-like. And just, I can't tell you how sweet. Cisco would come into the bedroom in the mornings and you could hear him jingle, but he wouldn't hop in the bed until you invited him to hop in the bed. You would have to say, okay, come on, okay. This dog was 15 and he would jump 24 inches, 30 inches, whatever, to get on the back bed. And then he always had to lay touching you. Very loving dog, very sweet dog. I'm blessed to have this dog. Diane and I, Scraps is a wonderful dog, but Cisco, possibly a once-in-a-lifetime dog. Lived to 16. Great old dog, great dog. But we had Cisco in the car, which we traveled with him nearly all the time. And we went to the Home Plate Cafe, just out here on Highway 7. And we didn't go there very often, didn't think much about it actually. We went and it was a Saturday afternoon, really busy, and we sat outside waiting for a seat. And this red fuzzy mongrel came and just jumped up in Diane's lap. Now, she's a dog person. Maybe not this much of a dog person, but she's a dog person. and just very loving and very kind. And she couldn't wait to pet him, and he was just all over her. And she's just rubbing him back and forth. And the guy beside me watched this happening and said, "Is that your dog?" I said, "I've never seen this dog before in my life." He said, "Nobody can touch that dog." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "He lives out there." He said, "You see that dog box over there? That dog house?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "He won't get in it, but they made that for him." He said, "Yeah, the blonde waitress." I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's who feeds him every night. She can't pet him. She comes out and puts a blanket down for him. He'll run 20 feet away from the blanket." I said, "You're kidding. She can't even pet him?" No. And I reached down and I petted him, and he gives me this. He gives me the big eye. And I think, well, that's weird. But I'm petting him. And the guy that's telling the story reaches over to pet him, and he runs 30 feet away. That's interesting. Beautiful dog, as you can see in the pictures, and wonderful. Well, Cisco is getting older. Having a younger dog, as we know Cisco's going to pass, and we don't know when. But this would be really great if we could. We take him back to the car, and Cisco's in the back seat. And I open the door. I remember it like it's yesterday. And Scraps looks in the car, and he's like, "There's a dog in that car." It's like he's just amazed. And Cisco just looks at him and come on in. Let's hey, I'd love to have a buddy, right? Scraps is having nothing of it. By the way, they called him Barney. We called him Scraps because he lived on scraps, right? But they called him Barney. And for the next few weeks, months, even during the cold part of the year, cold and rainy part of the year, we would try and go to pick Barney up and see if he'd let us get in the car. And nothing doing. And he would make his way down to the Sears store where Mr. Al and his lovely wife would be. He would be at the Sonic. This dog got around. He went a little bit of everywhere. And in the scope of all this time that he's doing this, he won a lot of friends, but everybody knew he had quirks. Super skittish. You could not get him in a confined space. That's why he wouldn't get in the dog box, in the doghouse, because he had a phobia of getting pinned up. So skip ahead 4 or 5 months, and he's down here at the police station. He's inside the village. Okay, animal control can come do their job, or at least try, right? Sometimes they'll feed them treats that have Benadryl to make them sleepy or whatever, but no. So they gave him a treat, and he took the treat, and then the lady officer said that when she gave him the treat, she grabbed onto his neck, because he has a ton of fur and a lot of fluff around his neck, and that he went into the death roll, just like he was being killed and whatever. And she finally was able to subdue him. And he was as scared as he was. He never would bite. He would never attack. He would never lash out. She put him in the back of the cage, and I encourage you sometimes. The animal control folks are wonderful people. We're hoping to have Mr. Jim on here soon. But when they put him in the cage, he was certain apparently that they were going to kill him. So they have these metal cages that are built like chrome shelving, and he took the cage with his mouth and bit it and started bending the cage back. Now we're talking 10 gauge steel. You'd have to take a pair of vice grips to do that. He did that until he broke out one of his bottom canine teeth. He was truly horrified. A couple of days later, they take him to animal control. They put him in a quarantine, basically. And a couple of days later, we got a friend that called, and she said, "Hey, that they've got Barney down at the animal control." I'm like, "Do what?" She said, "Yeah, they've captured him." I'm like, "We're there. We're going down there." Went down and saw Miss Shelley Shepard at animal control, or animal welfare, that they were putting him up for adoption. She said, we're going to have to send him someplace like a farm or something where he can run. He's just too wild. He's just too crazy. He's feral. He just, you're going to have to carry him somewhere. We're going to have to take him somewhere. He can't live here in the village. And I said, well, can Diane put a leash on him and just walk him in the little fenced area? So a leash in the fenced area, with supervision kind of thing. And we put a leash on him, and they carried the leash out to the pen area because they were just sure he was going to run away, and they didn't want to have to go through this again. And got out to the pen and gave the leash very cautiously. Scraps is a very, very, very strong dog, probably one of the strongest dogs I've ever owned. He's a 51% Australian Shepherd, 26% Chow, 13%, get ready for it, Jack Russell. Let's play! And that's how he was. And Diane got the leash and walked around the cart path on the inside. You'd think he had been on a leash his whole life. And he could not get enough of Diane. And I've always said he's a ladies' dog. I mean, he loves to hear women's voices. Look, he loves me and we hang out together all the time. I came with the package. He wasn't planning on me. But my friends, this is a classic example. I can't give you a better example of how you can prosper through friendliness. This podcast, me being on this show, I got news for you. But the only thing is that I'm friendly. Years ago, when I owned a large IT company in Little Rock, the third largest in the state, I have the killer instinct. I can be on top. I can dominate. It's a whole lot easier to just be friendly. From the beautiful shores of Lake DeSoto, if chilly shores of Lake DeSoto, Dennis Simpson for Hot Springs Village Venues. We will see you next time. Thanks for listening or watching Hot Springs Village Venues. It's truly a delight to bring you this program. If you have any questions, please visit us at village-venues.com or look for us on Facebook at HSV Venues or wherever your favorite podcast or seen or heard. We welcome your suggestions, so please drop us a line. Dennis at village-venues.com is a great place to start. Hope we can see you next week, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe.